So good morning, everybody. Today it's morning. I'm finally right. It is morning, yes, and we're starting a little bit late, so we got to get going here. And I want to thank you all for coming again. All the feedback I'm getting is that you really enjoy it, and obviously by the number of people coming, it's a pretty good indication that you are. So today we're doing things a little bit differently. Jen's going to start out with about a half an hour or so talking just about how to market yourself on social media, since she's our guru of social media. And then we're going to switch, and she's going to sit down, and our panel's going to come up here, and they're all going to talk to you for about 15 minutes each to discuss how they have, over the years, marketed themselves. Some are going back into what they've done over the years to build up to what they're doing. Some are just talking about what they're doing today. But I think you'll get a really good mixture of ideas and costs. Some things are free and other things are expensive, but you know, we wanted to present to you as much as we could to give you the ideas, and you can decide from there where you want to go. So Jen, you ready? Yeah, it's that one.
Okay, so I'm going to start with talking about how you guys can market yourself online. Some of it's through social media, some of it's through the Strategic 6 and the online profiles that you guys can have. I just wanted to start with a stat just to reiterate why you guys need to be marketing yourselves online. This is an NAR statistic, and it's showing you information sources used in a home search. So the first thing consumers are doing is looking online, which I'm sure is at this point no surprise for you guys. The next thing they're doing is calling their real estate agent, which is great for you guys. However, if they're online first and you're not, they're going to find a real estate agent who is and connect with them. So it's important for you guys to be online. Rule number one of marketing is you need to be where your consumers are. When you're marketing online, the one thing I want you guys to always keep in mind is, where are you driving your traffic? So when you're posting things on Facebook and social media and you're doing things on Zillow and Trulia, are you driving traffic back to one place? Because you should be. You should be driving traffic back to your agent website. If you don't have an agent website, you can set up a blog, since that's free on WordPress, and drive traffic back there. But you always want to drive your traffic back to where you're getting leads from. Now, and I'm sure Mike's going to go over this today, yes, you can get leads from Facebook, but you're more likely to get leads from your website. You can get leads directly through Trulia and Zillow and LinkedIn and all of those things, but your goal is always to drive traffic back to your website, because most of your websites, the in-house ones and your third-party vendors that you're using, should have lead generation built into your website. So if you're sending traffic to your website and people are searching and they're filling out information, you guys are getting those as leads. So your goal with everything else you're doing online is using those as vehicles and avenues to get people back to your site. And I just included this next slide to let you know that we do have agent websites in-house, for those of you who might not have been aware of that. I'm not going to go over a whole lot about them today, but they're $55 a month for an individual site. They are $65 a month for a team site. And I'm just going to point out a couple differences in case you guys are researching website vendors and looking into getting your website. Typically, a third-party website vendor, you have to pay an MLS fee on top of your website fee to frame in the MLS search. So expense-wise, that's something I wanted to make sure you're aware of. One of the benefits with the company website is you get all 6 MLSs on your website, and it's included in the monthly fee. So you don't have an extra fee for the search being on your website. And you get all 6 MLSs, so if you're crossing down into Maryland or Lancaster or Harrisburg, somebody can search in all of those areas on your site. Depending on the third-party website, sometimes you have to manually put in your listings. With ours, it's a feed from the MLS. So it goes in the MLS, it goes on your website, and it comes off once it goes pending and sold. The other thing to think about is compliance. We guarantee compliance with the Real Estate Commission, with Berkshire Hathaway, all the local MLSs. So with a third-party vendor, typically they're not aware of all the real estate compliances, so that's a responsibility that you guys have. The biggest piece is with other websites, typically you're doing the setup, you're writing your content, you're loading it on your template, and you're keeping up with it, so you're updating your site constantly. We do that for you. We can't hold your open house or sell your house for you, but we can help you with your website and with social media and things like that. So we do all the setup and we do all the changes for you. You just have to email us. So in case you're looking at website vendors, I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of that. Once you get a website, we always encourage you guys to get a domain name when you set up your website. Instead of having the jen.brown.homesale.com, which is a mouthful, it's not very easy to market. If I got a website, I would probably get jenbrown.com. You want to keep it easy to spell, easy to remember. If your name is easy, that's a good way to brand yourself. If it's not, we have somebody in agent services, Tara DiDomenico. I would never have her get TaraDiDomenico.com because she can't say it to promote it very well. You can't spell it. So if you have a situation like that, she could do terrashomesales.com or terrasrealestate.com. The one thing I want you to be aware of, if you are registering domain names, you cannot use the word realtor unless you have your first and last name in your domain name. So I couldn't do YorkCountyRealtor.com, but I could do JenBrownRealtor.com. That's an NAR compliance. If you're looking at domain names and you're just not sure, email me and I'd be happy to make some suggestions and to just make sure compliance-wise you're okay with using that word realtor. Once you get your domain name, you want to put it on everything that you're doing. Put it in your email signature. Make sure that it's linked because then somebody can click on it. Plus, every time you send an email out, Google reads that as your link being sent out through the internet and it helps to rank your website higher. Put it on your e-cards, your flyers, your brochures. It's important to market that in all your print marketing, your online marketing, as well as verbally. I have several agents who have had websites for a while now that consistently tell me that they get website leads because they market their website. Make sure you're familiar with the content on it. If you have things that your consumers are asking for regularly, instead of just emailing it to them, put it on your website. Because then you can say, hey, go to jenbrown.com, it's under local resources, instead of saying, well, when I get back to the office, I'll email it to you. They don't get it right away. You have to remember to email it to them, and you're not driving them to your site. So it's important to get a domain name that you can very easily market if you're on the phone or directing clients there too. The next thing I'm going to go over are the different ways to use social media to market your website and to market yourself. All of your social media sites, you fill out a profile when you set up those accounts. You should include your website domain name anywhere you have your contact information. So it should go right along with your cell phone and your email address on all of these websites. The first one I'm going to go over is blogging. If you do have an in-house website, you guys might not be aware of this, you have a built-in blogging capability. And we can turn it on for you, we can set it up for you, show you how to use it, show you how to post on it. But ideally, if you have a blog, it's best to have it built in your website, because if you do a blog post and it shows up on Google, if somebody's on Google searching York County Homes for Sale and you did a post about York County Homes for Sale, if I click on it to read the article, it's driving me back to your website because your blog is framed in your website. So that's the ideal way to set up a blog, is to have it attached and framed in your website instead of just sending them to WordPress or to an external blog site. You're sending the traffic back to you. If your website doesn't have a blogging capability built in, what you could do is set it up on WordPress, but when you're posting and you're putting content together in your articles, if you have context in your article that talks about buying a home in York County, link buying a home in York County to the search page on your website. So even if your blog's not built in your website, you can use the other articles that people might be reading on your external blog to send traffic back to your website. You always want to send them back to your website through links and through keywords that you have linking back and forth. YouTube, you guys are able to create a YouTube account, a Google account, and create your own YouTube channel. It doesn't have to be professional videos. And I think a lot of times we get caught up in, well, it has to be professional and it has to have a professional look. You guys, 98% of the time, probably have your cell phones with you. Cell phones are built these days where you can take good videos on them. So take a video of your clients walking into their new house for the very first time before settlement when you do the walkthrough. When you upload that to YouTube, it gives you an embed code. You could then embed that video right on your agent website and then share that website page on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, anywhere you're posting social media. It's great for your clients because when you make things about your clients, then they share it. So if you take that video, put it on your website, and share that page on your Facebook page, your clients are gonna love it. They're gonna share it on their page, and their 800 friends that you're not connected to just saw the video and saw that you were the realtor that helped them buy their house. So you're getting in front of all these people that you wouldn't typically be connected to. And if they're clicking to watch the video that you embedded on your website, all of those people are going to your website to watch the video instead of just going to YouTube. So again, you can use YouTube and you can share directly from YouTube. But if you think about the big picture, you always want to put the videos from YouTube on your website and send them back to your website instead of just driving them to YouTube. Facebook is the same thing. It's another way to get traffic back to your website. And I just wanted to include some basic instructions. We do have a Facebook webinar on Team Home Sale, by the way, that walks you through creating a business page step by step, goes over what you need on it to be compliant, goes over ideas on what to post on it. So this is the direct URL, so you guys have it in your handouts to create your business page. I do have a couple suggestions. Your page name. You don't want to name your page Berkshire Hathaway Home Sale Realty because then there's going to be 50 of you with the same page name. Most people are on Facebook searching for your name or for your area, or if it's a group, then you're inviting them to the group just like you could your Facebook page. So as an example, you could call it Jen Brown York Real Estate. Make sure that in the short description you have licensed in PA or licensed in PA in Maryland and then the broker name. That way you guys have what you need to be compliant on your pages. You're able to create a username for your Facebook page. This isn't where I would say facebook.com/JenBrown. You want to take advantage of it being keywords. So for example, I have facebook.com/Central York Homes. Because if I'm on Google and I Google Central York Homes, that Facebook page will come up in search results. So for the Facebook username, you want to use keywords that people might be searching online. A lot of times it might not be available because just like your domain name, only one person can have that direct URL. But come up with something, get very specific to the area you specialize in, the school district you specialize in, and use that for your direct URL. Office address, office phone number. There are cover photos on Team Home Sale. If you go to Team Home Sale and just search Facebook, and this is an example of one that's there, there are cover photos with the yard sign, with the equal housing logo on them. That way you guys are compliant when you do your Facebook pages. Content-wise, if you have a website and it has a page about York County on it, post that on your Facebook page. You always want to take pages and things that are on your website, post those on Facebook. So instead of just going here and posting, hey, I have an upcoming open house, go to your website, pull up the listing, post that link on Facebook, and then talk about your open house. That way if I click on it, I go back to your website. Google Plus and Twitter, I'm not going to talk about a whole lot, but it's kind of similar to Facebook where you're using the content from your website, from the blog that's built in your website, and you're posting those on those different resources. You can follow your clients on here, you can share your blog posts, share your website pages. It's just another way that if you're connected to people on those different sites and you're posting the information from your website, that you're going to drive them back to your site where you guys can get leads. LinkedIn is one that I'm really a big fan of actually, because LinkedIn is kind of like an online resume if you're trying to compare it to Facebook. Facebook, you need to keep updated. It's very social. It needs to be about your clients and about interacting with them. LinkedIn is kind of the opposite, in my opinion. I actually sat down with an agent in our East York office last year, and he said, I want to know what I'm doing online. So we Googled him. LinkedIn came up in the top 3 search results on Google. We clicked on it. He didn't upload his picture. There were no recommendations. So I'm starting to click on everything else, and then we find agents who do have their picture uploaded, who have online recommendations. And I looked at him and I said, okay, if you're thinking about selling your house, are you going to sell it with this person who you don't really know anything about, or this person who has 5 really good recommendations from past clients? I said, I'm going to call this person because other people on LinkedIn recommended them versus somebody I don't have any kind of first impression about. So it comes up high on Google, which is important. So it's important that you guys fill out your LinkedIn profiles, create your account, add your website link on there, ask for recommendations. It typically helps if you recommend some other people first because then they feel obligated to recommend you. So you might get more recommendations back. But if you have some clients that have their own business or that you've interacted with, recommend them, ask for them to recommend you back, and it's a really easy way to build a positive first impression on LinkedIn. I also like LinkedIn for new agents or people that are trying to build their database, because once you connect with somebody, you can see their email address. So you connect with them, the first thing they see is your current occupation. So it's a really great way to, if you're new to real estate, if you just had a career change, to let somebody know you're in the real estate business. It's also a really easy way to see their email address and build your database. Content, because I know this is always the hard part. You set up the social media and then you go, okay, what am I going to post on it? I don't have time today to take a half hour and write a blog post. We completely understand that. That's why as a company, we have social media. 1, so we have an online presence and branding for you guys, but 2, so you have social media content. So if you go to askhomesale.com as an example, that's our company blog. And then the one underneath it, homesale.com/homesaleblog, again, that's another blog that Agent Services writes the articles and keeps updated. You guys are more than welcome to copy those articles word for word if you want to. Use them on your own social media. Use them as your own blog post. Now, Google knows if you did that. So if you copy it word for word, they're not going to rank it as new content and it won't get ranked as high. But if there's an article that talks about buying homes, change it and specialize it and make it so that it's significant for you guys. So change it to buying homes in York County or buying homes in Central York School District. Make it specific to you and to your areas, and then you've updated that content as new content. So you don't have to write it word for word, just change some of the wording on there. If you don't have your own blog, that's at least somewhere you can go to share articles and put those on your Facebook page and your different social media sites. I did list a couple other ones. Now, the other ones you can share the articles, but you cannot copy that content word for word. The other 2 we write, so we allow you guys to do that. So just remember, you can only copy word for word from the company's resources. Outside resources, you would have to share a link back to the article. Have you guys heard about the Strategic 6? Okay, so I'm really excited about this because I know you guys are busy, and we teach you to do social media, we teach you to do the online profiles, but it gets to be a lot of places where you're uploading your photo and putting in your bio. One of the great things about the Strategic 6 is we do that for you. So on these websites, on Zillow, on Trulia, we go in and we upload your photo, we put in your bio information, your cell phone, but what I want you guys to do is take the extra step and enhance those things. We're doing it for you, which means on Zillow, as an example, if somebody pulls up your listing on Zillow, it has your picture, it has your cell phone, your contact information, and because we have the Z Pro program, it will actually put you first on your listing detail pages. But that's not always good enough. And Brenda, can you go one more slide for me? Thanks. It's not always good enough because Ken, as an example, let's say Ken, who's first, because this is his listing, doesn't have any reviews, so he wouldn't have any stars. I would skip right over him and click on somebody that does, and then I impression and an idea of what that realtor's like. So we're putting your photo in and adding your bio for you. That way you show up first on your listing detail pages on Zillow. But what you guys need to do is go in, ask for recommendations and reviews from your clients. That way you have those positive first impressions with the reviews, and you get the stars so people won't skip over you to somebody else who has them. And then add your solds, because if I'm thinking about selling my house, I want to know if you've sold a home similar to mine. So I'm going to look through your recent solds. So it's great that we're helping you guys out, but you need to take that extra step of enhancing these profiles. And then the same thing with Trulia. With Trulia, we have a program with them that we've had to put together a contract on, and you do show up on your listing detail pages. Again, we put your photo and your bio there for you, but it's the same thing. You guys need to go in and take that extra step of asking for reviews and adding your sold listings, making sure your agent website links there again. So if I'm looking at your profile, I can click and then go find out more about you by going to your website where all the leads go to you because you're the only agent. With Trulia and Zillow, if I keep clicking around, everybody's on that site. So there's tons of listing agents there. So you don't necessarily want to send people from your website out to Trulia and Zillow, but you always want to send them from Trulia and Zillow back to your website where you're the only agent, so you're the only one getting those leads. Homes.com, kind of the same thing. We're putting your bio on there, a link to your agent website. There aren't solds on Homes.com, but you can go in and you can ask past clients for endorsements and recommendations. Realtor.com, agent showcasing. This one's a little bit different. As a company, we have company showcasing, which means your listings are branded to the company. The benefit with the Strategic 6 is, since it's branded to the company, it goes through the lead center. So if it's your listing, you guys are the listing agents, you get your own leads. If you have Realtor.com agent showcasing, which is the next step, that's where we put your photo in for you, your bio in for you, a link to your agent website. So your listings, instead of just being branded to the company, are branded to you. That's where your website link comes in. Other benefits of that program, you can enhance your listings. So you can go in, you can add custom headlines, special remarks, custom messages. It doesn't just feed the bullet points and features from the MLS. You can take the extra step with that. You can also sign your sellers up for stat reports. That way they can see how many times people have viewed their house on Realtor.com. So that's the main gist of what I wanted to go over today. I just want to start back go back to where we started and reiterate all of the things that we went over. I want you to strictly think of a way as driving traffic back to you, back to your website, back to where your leads come from. All of your leads from your agent website go directly to you, so these are ways to get traffic from Facebook, from Trulia, from Zillow, back to your website. Having those things helps because if I Google you, then your LinkedIn profile comes up, your Facebook comes up, your Trulia, Zillow comes up. It would be awesome if you could take up that whole first page of Google because of having all those social media sites and all of those profiles. So that's how this photo works, with driving traffic from the search engines to those social media sites and profiles back to you guys. So start with the bullseye, start with getting the website. If you're not ready to have a website expense, start with a blog and create a free one because you're the only agent on that. And then you want to focus on creating a Facebook page, creating a Google Plus page, a LinkedIn account, going in and enhancing your Zillow and Trulia and Homes.com profiles. I don't want you to walk out today and go, she gave us like 10 things to create and 10 things to go over. Pick a starting point. So if you already have a website, start with creating a blog on your website or start with Facebook. If you don't have a website, start there. Then look at all the free options. So look at Facebook and LinkedIn and Trulia and Zillow and Homes.com and all of those things. Then look into the paid options like doing Google Pay per clicks, Realtor.com agent showcasing, doing upgraded things on those other profiles. But make a plan, come up with, okay, well next week I'm going to set up my Facebook page. recommendations. If you don't come up with a plan of when you want to achieve those things, it's going to fall through the cracks. But that way you can make sure that you're getting everything done and your online reputation and experience is complete. I'm just going to leave you with a quote. Development of a profitable real estate website that generates commissions and gets visitors regularly from the search engines is something that takes time, months to years in some cases. I always tell agents who talk to me about getting a website, if you're not going to market it, don't get it. Because if it's just out there, yes, somebody might come across it, somebody might find it, but if you get a website and you market it and you're updating the content on there, you have a blog built in, you're putting your domain name on all of those other websites, when you do those things, Google looks at your website as being more important, and if you put a link on Trulia and Zillow and all those other profiles, they look at it and say, okay, well, if we take down these other websites, they're going to suffer because they're linking back to that site. If it's not linked anywhere, they don't rank it as high. So when you're doing all of those things, it takes time. It takes time to build those profiles. It takes time for Google to find a new website. So be patient with it. You won't start getting leads right away, but it'll build over time. So it's just one of those things that is kind of a slow and steady increase where the more you put into it with updated content and linking back to it, the more you're going to see results. I think that's my last slide. I did include in my handout some instructions for you guys. So there are instructions on how to go on Zillow and Trulia and ask for recommendations, how to enhance your profile, and how to add other training videos on Team Home Sale that'll walk you step by step how to create those accounts.
Yes. Is there a way that, like, you're asking for recommendations from Zillow, Julia, Realtor.com, it's all the same people. Is there a way to consolidate that so that if you get a recommendation from a client, that you can put it on all of those platforms?
Jim, repeat the question because they would not have heard it.
Okay. Chris was asking, since you have to ask people to go to Zillow and Trulia and LinkedIn and all the different websites, is there a way to put it, one recommendation you get on all of them? There really isn't. With LinkedIn, it has to be somebody who's on LinkedIn, goes to your profile and puts it in, which I actually like because then consumers don't look at it and go, I wonder if they wrote that themselves. It holds more weight and it holds more value. So unfortunately there's not, but I would pick and choose. So if you enhanced your Zillow profile this week, at your next settlement, ask somebody to go to Zillow. And then the next one, ask them to go to Trulia. So just kind of alter them. I know it's not easy, but it does hold a little more weight since it has to be somebody that physically goes there to do it. If you do get testimonials and recommendations via email, and you have an agent website, if you email it to us, we will put it on your website for you, or we'll pull it from Zillow and Trulia. We'll help you guys out with that, but there's not a way to do that through all of the different profiles. So I know it's a little time consuming and you might feel like you're bugging people, but if you do it right after settlement, hopefully that's when they're the happiest and the most excited to do that, and they're willing to do that on one or two websites for you guys. Yeah?
When we get the weekly OSA report, what all, is that just the Berkshire Hathaway website?
Yes. The OSA report is the national website.
Okay.
There's also a seller report in HomesaleCenter.com. That would be HomesaleCenter.com and your agent website. So they're two different platforms, so there's two different reports. And then the same with Realtor.com, that would just be for Realtor.com. So I always kind of pick and choose. If I'm not seeing a lot of traffic on one website, I'll set them up for maybe 2 or 3, but I always explain to them, your listing's on over 32,000 websites, so here's just a couple that we track for you. Go ahead, Judy.
How do you direct, like Zillow, Realtor.com, when you're saying direct back to your website, how do you do that?
When you fill out your profile, typically when you put in your cell phone, your email, it has a spot for your website link, so that's where you could put in my jenbrown.com, so there's a link there that goes back to it.
So just by putting that in, it'll automatically?
Yeah, it helps. If people aren't clicking on it, that's not always the big picture, but Google sees it, And they go, okay, well, they have all these profiles linking to your website, so they rank it higher. You're gonna see more traffic from Facebook and social media where if you're posting the link regularly, then people are clicking through. So
Okay.
it's a different way of using it.
So it's that simple, just by putting that in.
Yeah? Go ahead, Donna.
You had stated, and I was looking into this, how do you embed something into your website?
With YouTube as an example, when you upload a video, it gives you an embed code, which is HTML coding. So if you have a website where you have an HTML editor, so if it's, instead of like Microsoft Word where you just type the text, if it's coding that you can look at, you just paste in the code, and it will actually take the video and embed it so I could play and watch it right on the website. If you have a website that's in-house, just send us the code and we do it for you. So you don't have to learn the website editor. That's what we're here for. You just need to get the video on YouTube and send us the link to it, and we'll do it.
You said that if we get recommendations on like Zillow, we can send them over to you and you can download them on our website?
Yep, just send me a link to your profile and we'll add them for you.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you guys.
Right, we're gonna take 1 second here. I need my panel to come up, and I need 2 chairs back, so you guys can sit where the panel is. So Bob's seat is here, Mike's is over there. Okay, our first panel member is Mike Thomas. Mike is with our Shrewsbury office, and Mike is going to tell you obviously what he does. I asked him to go first because what he does and what he's going to talk about today ties in a lot with what Jen was just talking to you about. So there's some continuity there for you. And Mike's he has a site, and he's going to talk about it, but for the past 3 years at least, he's been doing about $3 million of business off of his Facebook site. Okay, so I think it's important for you to listen and learn. You're on.
All right, well, I guess the first thing to start with would be kind of my background. And I grew up in Southern York County, PA, lived there all my life. And I always felt like a responsibility to give back to the community, something that I think we all should kind of try to do as human beings. But I was a member of the fire department for 16 years, member of the ambulance club, Glen Rock JCs, and various nonprofit organizations in Southern York County, PA. And I think because of that, I understood kind of what these organizations go through to get their events promoted. So when I put the site together, next slide, I wanted to put something together for the community, that the community could use, that they could interact on. So in 2009, I started the Southern York County PA Facebook page, and I wanted to have nonprofits be able to advertise on the page and get their events out. I wanted to have businesses that were new to the community and giving back to the community to have the opportunity to promote themselves on the page. And I wanted the community to be able to connect and kind of create a community within a community. I never expected to get as big as it is, but it grew. So when I put the page together, you have to have benefit for yourself as well. You have to be able to get something out of it because you're going to be putting a lot of time into it. So for my buyers, I wanted something that they could learn about the community they were moving into. Working in Southern York County, PA, we're like an extension of Baltimore, Maryland, and we're a bedroom community to the Baltimore area. And a lot of these people are moving up to the area, and they really have no idea what to do in the area because they live here, but they play and they work down in the Baltimore area. And the only thing that they really know is what their friends that also live here from Maryland tell them. So I wanted them to be able to get connected with the community and kind of see what was happening in the community. And then I also wanted to be able to showcase my listings. When I first got into real estate, I did some corny stuff in work. Anything from printing out brochures and putting them on iron-on transfers and wearing them, to just different postcards and odd things. And this I felt gave me a way to showcase my listings to the community. So initially, I sent the invitation out to 300 friends on my Facebook page, on my personal Facebook page. Said, come join this page. This is what it's going to be about. And out of the 300 invitations I sent out, I had 200 people join the page pretty much the first week. After that, at the end of the year, we had around 800 people that were on the page. By 2012, we were up to 2,500 people, but then mid-2012, it kind of stalled. People weren't coming and joining the site, it wasn't growing at all. So I started to recruit people, basically by putting something out there saying, look, here's this page, would any of your friends or family benefit from being part of this page? And people started to join, they started to invite their friends and family. So it grew to 3,500 people by the end of 2013. And then all of a sudden something happened. In a year, it grew 4,000 members to 7,000 people by the end of September 2014. It's currently up to over 10,132 people that follow the site, and they're all from the Southern York County area. And it's growing at about 21 people per day. And the reason that the site is growing is because I learned a long time ago, people don't care about you, They have no reason to go back to your site and find out what you're doing or what you're talking about, It's about the community. It's not about me. It's about connecting the community and giving them benefit, giving them value to come back and visit that site on a monthly or a weekly or a daily basis to see what's going on inside of their community. So Zig Ziglar said, you'll get all you want out of life if you help enough other people get what they want. And the key is, when you're putting this social media site together, it's not about you, it's all about them. You being, it's not about your business. You can't focus, in my opinion, the reason this site works is because I don't focus on me and my business. I focus on the people, the community, the people that want to come back and see what's going on and be a part of the site. So once you realize that if your goal is to grow that audience, it can't be about you, because when you're putting stuff on there, your friends and family are pretty much the only people that join some of these Facebook pages that follow you as fans, right? You need to reach out to a broader group of people. So when you go onto Facebook, I realize that you're not going on to see what your insurance agent has to say. You don't want to find out what your BMW salesman has to say. You don't care unless you're in the market to get new insurance, or you're in the market to get a new BMW, or in a lot of cases, if you're not looking for a house or in the market to sell a house, you don't really want to go on and find out what's going on in the housing market. But a lot of times people go on and they check the yard sale sites, they check the events pages, and they want to find out what's going on in their community. So the site, it's not about me, it's about the community. And the audience returns frequently, not to learn about what I'm doing, but to learn about what's going on in their community. So a lot of times when I look at other sites, and not people in this room, but other sites, people are promoting themselves. It's all about me. See what I'm doing. Find out what I'm doing in the real estate market. Come buy with me. Come sell with me. Right? They think that if they keep content to decor and curb appeal and housing stats and market trends, that they're providing a service and that they're going to build an audience. While I think that stuff is important, I don't think that you're going to grow your page and you're not going to grow a following by doing that. And then, as far as the stuff that people are putting on, check out this great headboard, or check out this beautiful kitchen in Malibu. If people want to see that, they're going to go to Pinterest or HGTV or Google and find that information. And then the other thing to realize is the psychology behind Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter. Facebook is a place to connect socially with your social circle. It's a place to get connected and tell stories, all right? So by putting different photographs and stuff out, it's not always going to help, sorry. So people aren't going to be researching housing trends. They're not going to be going to Facebook to look for information that you can find on HGTV or Pinterest. All right. So the difference between the Southern York County PA page and a lot of other pages is that it's a way for people to get connected. It created a community within a community for people to come together and see what's going on. They communicate, they talk, they ask questions, they find out what's going on in their neighborhood. They talk about community issues. Sometimes I get some drama on the site. I mean, it can get a little bit crazy sometimes, but you eliminate that and it kind of goes away. People come on and ask for advice. They like that personal recommendation from people on, what doctor should I go talk to? My kid has allergies and, we need a doctor in York County. They go on and ask questions like that. Can anybody recommend a good restaurant for Valentine's Day this weekend? They ask questions about that. So it gives people the opportunity to talk to people within their community that they don't know and find out personal recommendations, which carries a lot more weight than just searching on Google and seeing different ratings. Some other things that the site has done is there were some people a lady moved up from Baltimore. She didn't have any friends. She's been here 13 years. So she posted on the page, and now her and 6 other ladies get together every Wednesday night, and they have a knitting group, and they have Christmas parties and everything. And she would never have been able to do that if she wouldn't have been able to connect through this community group. One of the other things that I think is important is by having this community page, it allows other people in the community to post on the site. All right? A lot of times when you have to come up with your own content and you have to dig for content and find content and put it on there every day, you lose track of it. You get so busy with your day-to-day tasks at work, you don't have time to go through and post every day to keep your social media up. The nice thing about this site is it's self-sufficient because other people post. So the biggest thing that you have to do is you have to monitor the page, and you have to make sure that it's staying family-friendly, because if your face and your name's at the top of this page, you need to keep it family-friendly, because whether it's your beliefs or not, people are going to associate you with what's being put on the page. The other thing is when you're posting stuff, it's stuff about what you like. When other people are posting, it brings the whole community together, and it gives you a larger demographic that you're hitting. So even though the page is not about you, it's all about you, because you have to promote yourself because you're putting a lot of time and effort into it. So this is the top of the page. You can see on the header, it has some photographs. To stay in compliance, I just used my business card and put it on there, and it has everything that I need for my business card. Therefore, it should be compliant with the Facebook site as well. When I had this picture, it was 7,353 members, but they're up to over 10,000 now. Yeah, you can go into the site. No promises on what might be on here. Right. So we're up to 10,163 members. It's 30 more than we had yesterday this time. I have a pinned post at the top that basically has, welcome to the site, here's some basic guidelines to keep it family friendly. And then at the bottom of that, I have my link that takes you right to my website. Over on the right-hand side, if you go up a little bit to the About Me section, you can open that up. And if you look, it's being subtle. It's not saying this is Mike Thomas's page, this is not Mike Thomas's page. But it says it was created by local Shrewsbury, PA real estate agent Mike Thomas to help get connected in Southern York County, PA, and tells you about the site and what it's about. But if you come down here, it also talks about me again. And if you scroll down through, you can see some posts, people looking for a car. Here's someone looking for lenders. So I'll be able to generate something hopefully off of that lead. It's people talking about community events, things coming up. There's one of the ways that I promote myself is to add some of my list.
Poll cards, I think, are very valuable. I've gotten called 3 years after having a listing in one neighborhood, and she had that card that she kept from there. So we send out about 100 on each just listed, just sold. And I think that runs somewhere around $28 to $31 to do that. I might incorporate the jumbo cards instead of the small ones. We went to the small ones, but I might do that. I've noticed I've received a couple of the jumbo cards from people trying to sell me insurance and things like that now, and at least I looked at them anyway. The magnifying glass is right in the center there. And that center section is, especially the elderly people, I always give those out. At open house, someone comes in wearing glasses. I said, this might be helpful for you. And it's, you know, when we go to these restaurants and they're small print and the light's dark, they come in useful. And it's just the size of a card. There are still people that have jars that have lids on it. So that's one thing that I hand out to, the jar opener. And then my card is a little unique in how I'm presenting that too. My paper ads, again, consistency with the picture. I try to always indicate, sorry if I'm talking that way, try and indicate homes are selling, sold in 15 days. Even if it's sold in a month and a half, put a sold on it when you're advertising like that. It's showing that the market is moving. And I think we need to constantly be telling people that some way or another. They don't read the paper, or they read the paper that things are not improving, you know, and the next day it says they are improving, so don't know how to take that at times. Okay? One of the things I think is very important that I do is I put books together. I have these seller books and a buyer's book. And when I go, I establish a relationship with each one of those people, whether I'm interviewing for a listing or I'm interviewing a buyer. And I give them the books, we put that together. It costs a couple dollars to put it together, but it's a commitment on my part, and it explains to them what they should expect and what they're going to get when they work with me. Those books, they save, they really do. And they keep their records in them. They refer back to them. It's kind of a brochure of sorts telling them, here's what you should have happening within the first 7 days or 14 days of the listing, and they can follow that through. Something I've been doing for probably 10, 12 years has been the homeowner's book, and it's a manual. The one on the far side there is a book of keeping your records. It's a home records book of all your settlement sheets and things like that. You have envelopes to keep all that in. And I don't know how many times I've gone to relist a home, and people are selling 4 years, 5 years, 7 years down the road. They have that book still full of things. And of course, we, as an added gift, we give mailing labels to them also at that time. All right.
Thank you, Bob. Okay, our next speaker is Sharon Emenheiser. Sharon's at the Dallastown office, and she works mostly in the Red Line area, so that's where the focus of her marketing is. So, go ahead, Sharon.
Actually, like Nancy said, I do work mainly in the Red Line area, and that's mainly because I am the ultimate redneck. Born and raised in Red Line, moved all the way to Felton. So, you know, that's a different type of people down there. You have to understand how we think. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. If you show up in your shit stompers and your jeans, you fit right in. You show up in high heels and dresses, and they're going to pull a gun on you. So, you know, you have to know who you're dealing with. And that's one of the things that I had to find out was, who am I really, and who do I fit in with? I'm not going to be a realtor that's going to go out and probably list $1 million home. I'm not going to fit in with that type of person. But I fit in with my rednecks just fine. And being part of that, I found that advertising with them has been huge. So one of the things that I do is I every year do a Halloween parade for Redline. Because I have my car done up, we simply just we have a trailer, we decorate the trailer for Halloween, and then I incorporate my family, which my family will tell you it's not really incorporating. I pretty much just tell them, you will do this. And as I'm being nice and throwing candy to the kids, then my family walks behind everybody where the parents are, and they hand out the magnets with the kitchen measurements on. They hand out the Post-it notes that have my business card on, so that the parents are getting Halloween gifts also. The kids love me because I'm giving out candy. Last year we gave out 200 pounds of candy. Yeah, a lot of candy. And we ran out. So, and on an average, we give out anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 of the kitchen measurements and stuff like that to the parents. So it's an audience that comes to you. They want to be there. They're already happy, and they expect to get things. So it's a win-win no matter what. Now that's the Redline Halloween Parade. The Dallastown Halloween Parade is twice as big. There's more people in Dallastown, and then all of us rednecks from Redline, we go to Dallastown too, because that's not really that far away for us. York is way too far away. We don't do York. But, so Dallastown gets Redline and Dallastown. So Dallastown Parade, you have to have about 3,000 handouts. And you need a lot of people, because when you get to the square, you come off of Pleasant Avenue, there are just hundreds of people. So when your family falls behind and you're way up in the float, don't worry, they'll catch up eventually. The car itself has been really, really big for me. Now I tried two things. I tried putting all of my information on my husband's car also. Big, big mistake. My husband's a truck driver. And if anyone knows anything about truck drivers, they drive like idiots. So that was a big mistake. We took that back off really quick. But I have been in a grocery store in the Red Lion Giant, and I've had people come in and say, we saw your car out there, and we have questions for you. And they literally chased me down giant aisles. It's kind of scary at first, but then, and I've pulled into McDonald's on Black Friday, and I had a lady pull in beside me, and she said, I have to sell my house in the spring. Do you think you could help me? Sure. And it was all because all she did was see my car. I average about 2 to 3 listings just because of my car and going to the grocery store. So doing my car was not expensive at all. And the reason I started doing that is, have you seen the billboards on the back of a truck that drive around? Well, they charge quite a bit of money to do that. And I thought, well, this is ridiculous. As much as I drive, why not just have my billboard on the side of my car to begin with? Now, you do have people when you stop at a signal light that'll yell, hey, Sharon, how are you? And then you have to sit there and go, hi, like you know them, but you really have no idea who they are. And then on the back of my car, since we all have to sit in traffic so much, I have my website on the back bumper. Again, if you sit in traffic for too long, people tend to get on and leave you messages on your website and stuff like that, but it can be fun too. But that has given me a lot of business, and it's been really great. Like I said, the only downfall is you have to watch how you drive. Yeah, so some of you already see this is not going to work. Some of the other things that I have done is the street fairs, carnivals, things like that. I tend to choose areas that people are already happy. I don't really like dealing with grumpy people. So if you go to, I do the Red Line Street Fair every year. And we go and we set up a stand and we make up 2 great big poster boards that have our listings that we have active. And then we do a whole booklet of everything that's for sale in Red Line. And it is amazing how many people will just stop and talk to you about real estate. We hand out things to them. 2 years ago, we ended up with 2 listings, of which we sold Both of those listings bought other houses, and we've now gotten 4 referrals off of those people, just from the Red Line Street Fair. So, that was really great. Now, this past year wasn't as good, mainly because I decided to have both knees replaced and came out of the hospital the day before. Yeah, no, so that didn't work so good. But, that one was really great. We've done the Dallas Town Carnival. Now, the Dallas Town Carnival was very expensive. That was $500 for the week. And it was a big commitment because it was every day. And we did get we saw a lot of people, but I can't actually connect any sales to that, 100%, but we saw a lot of people. So we have taken on more of the community activities and done it that way. Just like I said, because of the fact that this is where we're from, this is who I am, and instead of trying to change me, I might as well just fit in, because there's a lot of us out there. So, one of the other things that I have done now also is, I was looking at billboards. The Jeff Cleaver, Mark Carr, and Adam Flinchball team really irritated me one day, because I looked out my window in Dallastown, and there's their faces on this big billboard. And I was like, how rude, this is the Dallastown office, you shouldn't be, advertising right here. But I love them to death, but, it is a little competition here. And I thought, well, that's a really good idea. Although I'm a little scared to see myself that big, but, so I decided to start checking into them. Well, billboards were way out of my price range. There was just no way. I'm just a lowly little person here. That was way out of my price range. So I started checking into bus shelters. They're a little bit smaller, but they do really, really well. So I ended up getting 5 different bus shelters in the Red Line, Dallastown area. And on those bus shelters, it just simply says your hometown realtor, has all of my information, my face, and then we're getting ready to change it up, and because now we're focusing on some short sales and things like that, so we can advertise anything we want on there. Those are very nice, because those are, for 5 of them, it's only $250 a month for 5 different bus shelters. So that is, a lot more into my budget, so it works out really, really good for us. And it's still, instead of 1 big one, I now have 5 small ones. So, then we also do, like Bob said, we do a lot of the calendars. We do calendars every year. I will tell you, this year I had somebody ask my sister's a nurse, and they asked my sister if she had been giving out their personal information. Because I choose my past clients I want to start working in. And well, they just happen to live in that neighborhood, so they got my calendar. Well, they were thinking Tam gave out their personal information to her. She's like, no, she's just stalking you, it's okay. Great. So, I always choose, every year, I choose a neighborhood that I want to start working in, and then I start sending them things also in a farming area. So we do a lot of farming. But that's basically what we do. I chose an area that I fit into, and I, at that point then, decided who I was and picked everybody that I would get along with. It makes my job much easier. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, great job. Mr. Schaefer, baseball cap.
I do wear it. I wear it to the gym, not every day, but...
You're going to have to talk up over the construction.
Okay. So, I certainly want people to know what it is that I do. So, I tend to go out of my way to just try to make sure that I make the right impression with people. First of all, I'm thinking to myself, I want what he's having. That's really cool stuff with Facebook. That's awesome, and I'm learning here a lot today, making a lot of notes. There's things that I know that I want to do, and I'm just inspired by some of you guys that are here in the room, Polly and Bob, who I grew up with in this business over the last 29 years. But I've come to realize that in our business, I think you just have to remain consistent. So a lot of times I'm frustrated by the way that some agents, they just feel like they need to be kind of have their own little life outside of real estate. Certainly that's important, but I think you need to be careful to make sure that people know what you do, who you are, and what type of business that you do. So, and I think of it as the no secret agent status. When I go to church, I don't always dress in a logo shirt or things like that, but what I do try to do is make sure that I'm dressed for success. You know, when I look in a dictionary, I see, I look under realtor, I see a picture of Rick Smith back there. He's always looking good. I often think of when he goes down to his beach home, he's probably the guy out there on the beach in a suit. Little notebook, and what's that payment book in his pocket? Yeah, daytimer, pocket payment calculator, right? But, so I think it's important that we do our best to make the right impression, so you might want to, there you go. This is one person's impression. The logo shirt doesn't always work for everybody, but, you know, how you show up and the impression that you give people when you get there. Like, I used to do a lot of advertising on my vehicles too. Right now we're recreating the fleet a bit. My son's getting in the business, Travis over here, and you can see he's wearing his logo shirt.
Travis just passed his exam Saturday.
One time, Dolly's my manager at the West office. She was, I think, talking about making sure that you wear your name tags, and I noticed that there's a lot of people here today that are wearing their name tags, so it's easy to pick you out of the crowd and know what it is that you do for a living. She was talking about that at a sales meeting one day, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to put layers on, because I have underwear with the logo. I'm just going to strip for it, take off the different layers. But again, just getting back to that and being consistent.
We found out there were prizes that day if you brought in and you wore a business your name badge.
That's it.
Yeah.
I was going to get that prize that day. I thought I was anyway.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I think it's important that you remain consistent in your marketing and advertising. Certainly spend time prospecting, advertising for new business, doing mailings and communiques, newsletters as I think we call them now, asking your customers and past customers for referrals, opportunity time, taking that phone duty, I call it opportunity time. Still to this day, I'm always looking at if somebody doesn't want to cover phone duty, I'll take it for them. Open house, you know, the company wants us to do open houses. That's why they have contests. And it's not just all about them, because they know that if we're out there seeing the public, that it's going to make more business, that our activity is going to breed other activity. And of course, it's important to be in touch. And you know, some of us, after 29 years myself, we tend to get old a little bit, and we're not always willing to embrace those new technologies. But I think it's important that you do so. You try to learn and change and evolve. So certainly provide your cell phone number everywhere. I still see listings a lot of times where the listing agent doesn't provide a cell phone number. That's crazy. That's just crazy to me. You know, be open-minded to receiving and sending text messages. That's the way a lot of young people will communicate. Shane on my team told me once, he said, Rick, you may as well not bother leaving a message for a young person. That young people, a lot of times they don't even have their voicemail box set up. They don't know anything about returning a message. You have to call them the second or third time, or better yet, text them. And that's the way they want to be communicated with. They want their information, they want it fast, and they want to move on. So be open-minded to email, obviously Facebook messaging. More and more all the time, I'm getting customers that will contact me through Facebook through a Facebook message. Internet leads, I think it's something like, and help me, Jen, wherever you went. I think it's like 75% of website leads that literally go unanswered. Now, I know we're all better than that, and on my team, we have a system to make sure that we follow up with those leads, follow up with them quick, and then continue to follow up with them, because about half the time, about 50% of your internet leads take anywhere from 12 to 24 months until they incubate into a transaction. So respond quickly, I think that's important. Now, I learned this, I hate to keep bringing my good friend Rick Smith up, but you know, these are the people, you made me what I am in this business. And one of my first impressions when I met Rick was in a little neighborhood called Lexington Meadows. And I was going out to see him about trying to bring a buyer to the community. And he said, well, I'll meet you there. I met him in front of the model home, and there he sat in his big black Lincoln Town Car, I think it was back then. And he was on his phone, and he opened the door, and the nude lights came on, and you know, I felt like I was stepping in luxury as a brand new agent. But it was something that I noticed, and I think I've heard him say that he continues to listen to tapes, to learn about, you know, motivation and other ways of doing business. So that's something that I do. It drives my kids crazy because, you know, I'm constantly listening to videos, trying to learn, trying to read, just trying to figure out where, you know, what the next step is and how we can evolve and change our business. So I think it's important that we show up and come to work. You know, a lot of times our business is something that you can do from home, but I find that you need to be in the office, surround yourself with the best of professionals, listen and learn, see what other people are doing, and learn from that. And when you go out into the public then, it's natural for you. It comes natural that you know what you're talking about and how to overcome those things. So our company is fantastic about providing educational opportunities such as this. I try to make sure that I'm there all the time. I try to stay informed and in touch with my lender, and I attend sales meetings. A lot of times as we get older in this business, we don't show up for sales meetings. We think we know it all. But I tell you what, I think I learned something at every sales meeting. I think it's vitally important. So when you go out to see your customers, I go prepared. I go really prepared with statistics on their house, statistics on the market in general. I want to prove to them that I'm dedicated to the business, that I took time to prepare, and I'm ready to explain the process. I make sure to, I have brochures and flyers that I've created and take along. I sort of think of them as those points of difference, those things that I'm going to give them extra over and above what they might not get from other agents or other companies. Of course, I think it's important to know your company and your company's products. And then document your success. You know, if you've made certain achievements or awards, things like that, then, you know, show them those. Bring along the testimonials. We work so hard to get these testimonials. Bring them along to your appointments and let people know what you're doing and how you're doing it. So now, to me, I don't know if it's as important to some people, but to me, I think core services are an important subject because this is an opportunity for the customer to make it convenient for them. Everything's dovetailed and things tend to go smoothly. When they look back on your transaction, on their transaction, they're going to remember if things went smoothly, and they're going to remember you if it was a good transaction. Our core services are the best that are available. I've been to settlements where the title person is in a Hawaiian shirt and shorts. Had to go to Philadelphia for a settlement one time, and that's what I came upon. You know, with our company and our services, I don't know why you'd go anywhere else. I utilize the 24/7 program. I don't know that a lot of people will really embrace that so much, and that's fine by me because I'll take them all. But you know, when you get those leads, they come into your platform, their dashboard, and you have the opportunity to register those customers. Sharon was just talking about looking into the cost of a billboard and how expensive that can be. Well, in my mind, that is a billboard once you register that customer. I've noticed a trend that if a person will use that system one time, they'll use it over and over again until they find a home. For me and for my situation, what I do is I register every customer and all my own personal customers so that if they use that system, they're not just getting the generic Berkshire Hathaway greeting, but they're getting it courtesy of Rick Schaefer. And I've sold houses as a direct result of that 24/7 program. I've sold houses for other agents as a direct result of that 24/7 program because it's the one opportunity where some other agent's customer calls you, you have their contact information, you can call them back and tell them all about your listing, why your listing is the better listing, and the advantages to that particular property. I use the seller advantage, keep my customers informed. Again, sometimes those sellers, like I bet you there's a lot of people right now you're talking to that say, well, as soon as spring breaks, that's when I'm going to list my house. You know, there are some people that it's in the next month or two, or it's in the next year or two. Yesterday or Sunday, I was at an open house where, and one of the reasons I do open houses is it's an opportunity for the public to realize that I'm still out there, vibrant, moving, and alive in this business. But one customer, and excuse the language, but I kind of think of them as one of my groupies, more or less, because they come to my open houses, they see I'm advertised, they know where I'm going to be, and they pop in. Now, you know, some people get frustrated with customers that pop in, and then a year later they pop in and things like that. But you know, I've sold that particular customer 3 houses, and I sold them their church building that they have their congregation in. And one Sunday they reported to me that they're going to be retiring in 24 months, and I'll be listing their house again. They're moving south. So certainly it's important to stay in touch with all those prospects and seller leads that you have. I use the e-cards. Heard Bob mention the just sold, just listed. I try to use those continuously when I list a property, when I settle on a property, even when I settle on a property that's listed by another company. You know, I want the neighborhood to know I was the agent that participated in the sale of that property. All right, what else? I was very interested in learning what Rick Smith was saying about open houses the other day and what other people had to input about how they prepare for their open house. And now I'm going to change a few things and add to it a little bit. But I think it's important to realize why we do open houses. So I kind of put some notes here to let you know some of the bonuses. And I touched on it a little bit. It makes the public realize that you're still alive, vibrant, and active in the business. You're going to be advertising that open house on Facebook, in the open house website, in the newspaper, Pinterest, places like that, and you're promoting the listing. So it's helping you to promote the property, but it's helping you to promote yourself too. And like Rick says, it gives you extra practice. Support your fellow agent across town. Okay. And to support your fellow agent across town. There's many cases where a customer walks into an open house on the west end of town that I end up selling one of my agents from across town. I sell their listing. So activity breeds activity. So, one thing that I've learned over the years is that you have to kind of vocalize to your customers the fact that you're not too busy. I learned once from a customer that I sold a house to. He was an airline pilot, and one day he called me and he was just a little bit hesitant in his conversation. He said, "Rick, you know, I've been wanting to call you, I've been wanting to call you, been wanting to call you, but I've just been putting it off because I know you're so busy." You know, and meantime, I'm probably sitting at my desk waiting for the phone to ring. So I think it's important that we kind of make sure to get that point across to our customers when we're in the public, to let them know it's okay to call anytime, to text, to email. I say anytime. They're not going to call you in the middle of the night, although I do get web leads and text messages and things like that in the middle of the night all the time. They're probably not going to, but you want to open yourself and invite them to do so. And I always point out that I love to show houses. You know, I make people understand that that's like my favorite thing to do. Love to show houses. And I do think that, you know, a showing appointment or an open house or a listing appointment is an opportunity for you to be on stage and to win that customer over. Also, I'd like to point out that financing is my specialty. I grew up learning that especially with the first-time home buyers, it's so important to know your financing. Now, we have it so easy because we have home sale mortgage and they're preparing our financing examples for us. I always would take a financing example with me to open house or to showings that I would do. Let people know how inexpensively they might be able to get in. I show them the least expensive way to get into the house, and then if they have plenty of money, then we'll convert them from there. Something that I've been doing that's a little bit different recently is for the last couple of years, it actually helps me. It started out as kind of a greedy thing because I take a picture of my customer in front of their new home or at the settlement table, things like that. And if you go into my office right now, you'll see that I have a variety of my customers' pictures on my wall or on my screensaver on my computer. It helps me to realize, you know, I can get up and do this again tomorrow. I am successful and I can make people happy. But I take those pictures and you know, I marry them with their testimonial, and this is an opportunity where I can put them on a Facebook or on my website. If you look at my website, you're going to see the testimonials that we brought over. I'm consistent about asking for testimonials on Zillow and Trulia. Wherever I can get those testimonials, then I bring them over, add the photo to them, and well, that's what I'm working on, is adding the photos to them so that when people see their picture on Facebook, they can tag themselves, or I can tag them, then all their friends see it, and it just grows from there. I do promote my open houses on Facebook, and do have a Facebook business page, Pinterest, just trying to get the word out about me and my business. Sometimes, or a lot of times actually, what I do when I show a property, I actually take a little gift along. Usually it's like a candy bar or something that has my label on it. It's a way of breaking the ice. Once they get relaxed with me, then that becomes my classroom. It's my opportunity to tell them about financing or the house or how to go about buying a home, the process itself. I shouldn't tell this to everyone, but part of the reason I think I get a lot of the listings that I get, especially in those situations where I'm in a competition situation, is I almost always show up with a little surprise. And you know, when they're seeing 3 agents in a row, you're going to be the one that stands out, I think, if I bring them a little prize. You know, it's a flower, a pie, a basket, whatever the case may be. And I'm in the door, now we're friendly right off, and it's easy then for me to present my case. So I work a lot within my own sphere of influence at and around my church. I figured that the advertising dollars that I do, I'm gonna spend some advertising dollars no matter what. You know, why not support my church in the process? So, you know, if you go to my church, you'll see that I'm on the back of the bulletin. I've been there for many, many years. I'm on this. We have a school at our church, and I'm on the school book covers, on their folders. I put up banners for sporting events, things like that. And then if there's something special going on around the church or the school, then I'm real quick to donate to or support that. Of course, there's a little advertising that usually comes back with that. And I always say that you can't outgive God, and certainly can't outgive the generosity of other people. So the more you give, the more you're going to get back. Just going back to the electronic spheres of influence, and kind of tagging along with what Tom was saying, is that Mike Thomas was saying, is that you can take your Facebook pages and create something with them that you know, will help you to grow your business. And again, not just being about you, but you know, I will make a quick comment. So you have to be careful with Facebook. I think that you could kind of fall into it in such a way that you just spend the whole day and all your hours on Facebook and posting and sending pictures of your babies and things like that. But it is an opportunity, because all of a sudden now, I always envied the people that knew everybody's birthdays. Now all of a sudden I know everybody's birthday, I know about anniversaries, I know if somebody's going to get married, and I know if they've had a new baby. So that's an opportunity for my personal cards and letters. Again, going back to my pictures, I typically will write people a card and include that picture that I took of them with their new house. Better move on. I know I'm getting long here. So I'm going to give you a couple of quick quotes from my hero, Rick Smith back here. You were on stage. So when you go out on those listing appointments or showing appointments, that's your opportunity. Another quote is, open house is the one place that you can meet face-to-face with a customer that is thinking of buying or selling a home. They can look into your eyes, shake your hand, interview you, and decide if they would like to work with you. Did you say that, Rick? Was that your quote? Okay, I'm giving you credit for it. All right, and then my quote is, an open house is a showing is a classroom where you have the opportunity to be a teacher. And then I just thought of a couple of quick quotes from people that are no longer in the business. Nobody gets in my car unless they're first pre-approved. I think that's crazy, because that's my classroom. I want that opportunity to meet with them, and I'll decide if there's a way that we can help them to buy a home. And then the other one is, I'm a dinosaur. I do things my way, the old way. And that's why they're no longer in business.
Thank you, Rick. We appreciate it. And last but not least, Polly Beckner-Lewis from the West Office.
Hi, my name's Polly. I got in business 29 years ago, and being successful just didn't happen. And you'll have to excuse my voice, I have a little bit of laryngitis. But anyway, it didn't just happen. When I didn't know anything. I did not know anything. I didn't know anything about real estate. I worked at Bob's Big Boy. That's the only job I had before real estate. When I got here, I thought I was Madonna. Bob, you may not remember her, but I dressed just like her. Big hair out to here. Drove an IROC Camaro. Did not have any idea about professionalism, but I became willing to be sent home every day to change what I had on. By Nancy Fox. I became willing to take my license plate off the back of my car, which I won't tell you what it said, and I became willing to drive a four-door car, which I thought I would never drive in my lifetime. And that's what's happened in my whole career in these last 29 years, is I've become willing to reinvent myself. And I'm reinventing myself again, and most of my reinventions come from life. You know, life happens in this business, and if you can go to the next slide, that slide has kept me selling real estate. That slide has kept me selling real estate through life, through everything in life. People getting sick, me getting sick, family members getting sick, the economy going bad. That is what's kept me in the business full-time, not having to work a second job, being successful, and it's my salary. That's my insurance policy, just like you created an insurance policy. No matter what happens in this business, that insurance policy you created from the very beginning, and I admire you for that. My marketing to past clients and prospects, it started out with one past client. It started out with my family. It started out with one listing. Now it's grown to 2,000 people. And I have consistently, through good times, bad times, horrible financial times, having to drive a car back on a lot because I spent too much money, I have consistently, somehow or another, managed to pay for that. My magnets that get sent, I send probably 300 of those out. You don't have to send it out every month, you can spread it out, but this is things that has evolved in my 29 years of business. I just didn't get in the business and start spending $1,600, but I was willing to write a thank you note for my past client, and I was willing to put a 42-cent stamp on it, and buy a little thank you card. That's how you build your business. Happy Grasshopper is really cool. One of my past clients happens to be my ex-husband, one of them, and he, we owned a beach house together, and I guess this thing talked about, have you ever lost anything? And he sent me back the email and said, yeah, I lost my beach house and my ring. And I, said, it was just funny because I emailed him back and we joked back and forth, and I got a farm listing out of that. I mean, I got this tremendous farm listing that I'm going on just from my ex-husband receiving my Happy Grasshopper. Happy Grasshopper's cool, go and look at it, it's got really neat ideas. People really seem to love them. I do email campaigns, I send testimonials, I do thank you for your referrals. I have a really good network of people that I've had for 29 years, and at Thanksgiving I send them flowers. Sometimes I do Thanksgiving cards, sometimes I don't. My Christmas cards are to my core group of people. I don't send them out to all my past clients because we do this giant mailing in the beginning of the year of my 2,000 magnets. And I send the HUDs every year. We've probably had 5 or 6 people call us asking us, hey, you're going to send us our HUDs, right? Because they use their settlement sheets before taxes. You hear the next screen. That's my spring ahead card. I do big ones. I make them bright. I put flowers on it so people can be happy. I'm constantly updating my client testimonials. This is my farm. I am a farmer, even though I'm from Essex, Maryland, and I'm a river rat, and my grandparents were commercial covers. I love farming. I have had probably 5 successful farms that I can count so far as I've been in this real estate career. I will tell you they changed. I had several condo developments I sold out, and I winded up farming them. Well, as people sell that, your majority of your prospects and the people in there start changing, so you've always got to start thinking about a new farm. My farm right now is Lake Mead, where I live. I moved up there in 2006, and out of respect for an agent who worked there very hard, I did not farm that. I didn't farm it at all. I didn't farm it, and I watched her sell these properties, and when she decided to get out of the business, because I respected her so much, she helped me get started up there. But that's what Ricky was saying. When you give something, you can get something back. And I didn't do that except for respect. I never had any intentions of working in that neighborhood. But what's happened up at Lake Mead is I have a 48% market share there. I didn't have a 48%. There's 1,020, 60 homes there. We sell about 54 homes a year. I honestly thought I never wanted to work in my neighborhood because it changed for me. It's not my vacation home anymore, year round. It's not like that, but I love it there. What's happened, I started in 2011. It has taken me to this time to get 48% of that market share. What I did was I believe in the just listed and just sold cards. I think they are great. If you send a just listing card out and it sells in 3 days, the next thing you do is you send out one in 3 days and go, hey, I sold this house in 3 days. That's how it started happening up there. And I think we said, what, 100 for $50? Everything I do is in color. Color, color, color. We don't do anything unless it's in color. and we make big postcards, not small postcards. I have invested a ton of money in Lake Mead. I've made a lot more money in Lake Mead than what I have invested in it, a lot more. That picture here that you see, I hired a helicopter to go up and take that magnet, that picture. And that was my magnet I sent 2 years ago. And people would email me and call me and go, wow, Paul, you really outdid yourself, because the year before, I had to make sure this magnet that I sent them this year was greater than the one before, you know? Because they don't want to always see words. So people absolutely love that. So I'm constantly giving back to the board up there. As you can see, I do a quarterly statistic. And I didn't always have stats, okay? But they were interested in seeing the stats. So eventually Polly got some stats, and I kind of borrowed the results matter from the company for my postcard I just sent out. So far we've sent out 2,000 magnets. We have sent out the yearly statistics, January, February, March, and they don't get them again until next year. Somebody else is going to be doing it for you, or doing it, and you're not going to get the business. So consistency is truly the key. The other things I do, these are some thank you cards I received. We have a homemakers association up there, and they do a scholarship for girls. Ornament. This year it was a house with a key, and it said 2014. And Bree and I went around and delivered them. Some people we had to mail them. They loved it. They hang it on their tree every year. Go ahead. These, oh, that's my email from my ex-husband. Anyway, I thought it was kind of funny. Why not prospect your ex-husbands? Anyway, so that's my magnet from the lake. And this year when I sent the magnet to the lake, I sent the wisdom from the lake. And it's really cool because it says, stay calm, make positive ripples, keep it real, look beneath the surface, take time to reflect, make a splash. I personalized it to the lake, and this was what we sent out to the other people. This is about American Lifestyle magazine. It's awesome. I highly recommend if you want to start forming your past clients to get them on this. It is excellent. I don't know what the minimum is you can buy, but I started with like 50, and now we're sending 300. These were my business cards. This is so funny. Anyway, I decided to do billboards before billboards were cool, Please excuse my voice, I'm trying to get through this. I did the stand-up picture. I mean, we're talking. He decided there was a television show on, and we went with Call Polly. And what we did on the television show was when my listing came up, it would ring, and it would go ring, ring, Call Polly. So I kind of got known as Ring Ring, so when people would come to my house, they'd call me Ring Ring. But when I got rid of my billboards, I decided I was going to do a brochure card. And I've noticed lately, I've seen a lot of advertising about this. It hasn't. And I put all my pictures up of my hairstyles. And that, it was funny because people would call me up and go, were you at a Poison concert? But it's funny.